News briefing. To go now to the National Press Club, the Islamic Society of North America is holding a news conference to discuss the country's reaction to that proposed Islamic Cultural Center near Ground Zero. This is live coverage on C-SPAN.
Very alarming trend in a rise in anti-Muslim bigotry in this country. It is a time that challenges Americans to decide whether we're going to live up to our values, the values of religious freedom and tolerance that has really been a hallmark of American society for so long. I feel very privileged and honored to have such distinguished faith leaders come here today to meet with us, to stand with us, to assert their belief in the importance of fulfilling this American promise and these principles. I'm particularly grateful to my Jewish colleagues who are very busy entering a time of the Jewish holy days and have many things to do in preparation for that. So I'm very grateful for them in particular for joining us today. Let me just say a few brief words about the climate that we find ourselves in today. I understand that there is a great deal of misunderstanding about Islam and about Muslims in this country. And I do not blame ordinary Americans who are very busy and do not have a lot of information for feeling confused and anxious. It is our job to help provide them with better information about what Muslims believe and what Islam is. What I do find disturbing and alarming is the fact that there are some people who are using that lack of knowledge and that anxiety for ideological purposes, either because politically or religiously they simply do not like Muslims. And they are fomenting dislike and hatred against Muslims in this country in a way that's very alarming. Having spoken to many families across the country over the last few weeks, I've heard many Muslim Americans say that they have never felt this anxious or this insecure in America since directly after September 11th. They're nervous about their children as they head back to school this week, that when they go to school that they're going to face people who are looking at them as aliens, when in fact they're citizens who are born in this country. They're afraid about going out in public. There have been a number of incidents of harassment of just ordinary people going about doing their daily business, and that's not something that we want to see grow and continue. Freedom of religion is, as I say, a hallmark of this country. The Muslims who immigrated to the United States, many of them came here for religious freedom, because even if they were in the majority in their country, perhaps they were of the wrong sect or the wrong expression of Islam. And so we know what it means to live in an environment where that freedom is taken away. And that is why, as American Muslims, we also have been very assiduous in the last number of years working with our colleagues to make sure that we use the freedom that we have in this country to also promote religious freedom and liberty as a principle of Islam. It is why we have signed the Common Word document and engaged in that as a principle of religious freedom, respect, and reciprocity between Christians and Muslims. It's why we've engaged with our Jewish colleagues in education of our congregations about each other's faith so that there is not distortion of what Jews are and what they believe and what Judaism is on the part of Muslims. So this is something that we're committed to, and we want to make sure that we're able to continue to fulfill this role, which is unique in the world. American Muslims have a unique ability to be this bridge and to show the Muslims who do not live in this kind of freedom that an open, pluralistic atmosphere where there are diverse religions living together can really be good for everyone. With that introduction, I would like to introduce my colleague, Rabbi David Saperstein, who's the Executive Director of the Religion Action Network of the Union for Reform Judaism to say a few words.
I know, like Dr. Michael Kinnaman, who is the General Secretary of the National Council of Churches of Christ, we're really honored to have co-sponsored, to have co-hosted this with the Islamic Society of North America. And we commend both Ingrid Mattson and Dr. Saeed Saeed for the extraordinary work that they did in putting this together on such short notice. We are all in their debt. As for those of us who are Jews who are part of this undertaking, both the ones who are here, Jewish leaders who are here, and some who couldn't be because of the proximity of the holiday, but were part of the preparation for this, we could be nowhere else. We have been the quintessential victims of religious persecution and discrimination throughout history. We know what it is like when people have attacked us verbally, have attacked us physically, and others have remained silent. It cannot happen here in America in 2010 without the response of the religious community. And we speak out because we know that hate crimes and hate speech are not mere acts of disreputable talk, of murder or assaults or arsons or derisive conversation or desecrations. They're attacks on the pillars of our republic and the guarantors of our freedom. Such actions, such speech are a betrayal of the promise of America. They erode our national well-being. And those who commit those crimes do so fully intending to pull apart the too often frayed threads of diversity that should bind us together and that makes us strong. These people seek to divide and conquer. They do damage to America across the globe. They do damage to us internally. They seek to tear us apart from within, pitting American against American, fomenting violence, civil discord. And we stand here to say that is not who we are as Americans and as religious leaders. That is not what we are about. It is not what our religions are about, and it is not what this nation is about. We have released now a statement on behalf of all of us who are gathered here. We know it represents the sentiments and commitments of religious leaders throughout America. I believe you have copies, or if you don't yet, they are available on the way out. It was a powerful experience shaping this statement. We came in focused on core issues of religious liberty and realized as we talked about this moment that Dr. Mattson has so poignantly and urgently described, that we had to speak more directly to the anti-Muslim bigotry that is going on across America today. And in reshaping the statement, it was focused on that. And I'm going to call on two of our distinguished members of our group, Dr. Gerald Durley, who is the pastor of Providence Missionary Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, and a well-known figure going back to the early days of the civil rights movement here in the United States. And Dr. Nancy Fuchs-Kreimer. Rabbi Kreimer is a professor who specializes in intergroup relations at the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College. And it is my pleasure to call on them now to read three brief excerpts from the statement that has been issued.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Saperstein. What an honor and a privilege it is for me, having stood on the Mall 47 years ago under similar circumstances, where we were talking about liberty and justice for all. The statement that we've worked together collectively reads thusly: religious leaders denounce anti-Muslim bigotry and call for respect for America's tradition of religious